Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So as it's been getting colder out, I think we can all say that we've asked ourselves this question. How do we make the most powerful sweater, the most magical sweater of all time in D&D? We're talking about making it as magical as possible and figuring out just how strong it would actually end up being. First, if anything, and we're going to speed run through this, we need to find ourselves a weaver's tool proficiency and ideally the crafter feat. And then play something like an artificer or some other class that gives you expertise in artisan's tools or just other tools in general. At the end of the day, to make this work, you need to be able to either use knitting needles or crochet hooks. You need to be able to work with yarn. And now with the starting bit done, we have to acquire our materials. And the first thing on our absurd magical shopping list for our absurd magical sweater is yarn. And how might one acquire yarn? Sheep. And to be fair, actually, there's quite a number of sheep stat blocks in D&D, and we have a few options to shear from. First of all, we have the Nyx Fleece Ram. And this is a creature from the mythic oddities of Theros, and their wool can be used to create a garment of magical affinity. The book offers some random magical effects that it will give the wielder, and you might be thinking that this is where the video would end. We just shear a sheep, make some yarn, and then turn that into a sweater, right? No, we're actually just getting started. Now, for those of you who haven't been initiated into the blood cult that is a knitting circle, at least once in their life, or had to untangle a couple of yarnussies, you see, sweaters, funny enough, are actually made of multiple kinds of yarn, and these are typically gathered from multiple kinds of sheep. Each one creates their own kind of wool that helps it better survive in the different kinds of environments. And because of this, each one has their own unique texture and potential purpose in fabrics. Some sheep are raised and born in areas where it's more damp, so of course the wool has to be more waterproof. Whereas in other areas, sheep are going to be colder, so they naturally grow wool that's going to keep them more insulated. It's a crazy thing. But anyways, I'm applying this concept to D&D. So anyways, back to the video. And it stands to reason with this kind of logic as well, that our sweater could use multiple kinds of wool. So the next creature too that we can make a stop on is the giant ram. This creature is from the Big B's Glory of Giants book, and this creature has a similar description to the Nyx Fleece Ram. If its fleece is shorn without harming the sheep, you can use its wool to form a cloak of protection. And also, if you use the wool and weave it into the fabric of armor, it can be used to make armors of elemental resistance, which is pretty cool. By this point, we have a sweater that allows us one of 6 magical abilities and a +1 to our AC. And the final piece to our magical sweater is we need to dye this thing, of course. Half the fun of sweaters isn't even making them, but it's seeing how different colors work with one another. And now we'll need to dye our yarn. And how do we do that, you ask? By slaying a large and powerful elemental creature from another plane of existence. Because that's the only logical jump that you can make. Now, for those of you who've played D&D for a while, you may know what this is.
This is a
Flail snail.
Dear God. There's more. No. It contains
Ability to make magic dye. So as many people know, flail snails have this lovely little ability to deflect the magic that comes towards them. And this ability and kind of this magical power can be applied to garments and armor made from the snail's shell. The snail shell can be used to make a spell guard shield that has the snail's anti-magic property. And even the dye can be used and applied to the fabric of a garment to turn it into a robe of scintillating colors. And this is a powerful item that has 3 charges, and when used, it has a potential to stun enemies as well as give creatures disadvantages on their attacks to hit you. So as discussed, one sweater is made from multiple different kinds of pieces at once. We have our 2 kinds of yarn as well as our dye, and putting it together, we do get a sweater, but mechanically, what do we actually get? So let's say in this case, we get the best ability from the Nyx Fleece Ram, which in this case I believe is the blessings of the god of protection. And from the cloak of protection, with the yarn we made from the giant ram, we get an additional +1 bonus to saving throws and AC. And for the final piece, we have the full-blown effects of the robe of scintillating colors. So in short, we basically created a robe of scintillating colors that gives us a +2 to our AC and saving throws. So that's pretty strong stuff. Of course, this doesn't up the ability or the DC with the robe of scintillating colors, but just the fact that like we personally have the ability to just go around the world, find these sorts of creatures, and then make a really cool magic item that has these abilities is awesome. And the fact, too, that it's literally just like, you're making a sweater. You're making the most powerful sweater in D&D. It's pretty funny. And this is the kind of thing where I do wish that the developers had more of within the game. Just these little stat blocks or these little lore pieces where it's like, hey, you can make this thing with these creatures. Because I think it's a really cool and underutilized aspect, because we as humans have been using the tools from nature around us for thousands of years to just create our modern day technology. And I think if you lived in a magical world like in D&D, I don't think we'd be doing anything any differently. So let me know in the comments if I'm missing some creatures, if there are just ones that you know of that say, hey, when you use the parts of this creature, or this creature gives this random blessing to you. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll make another video like that one day. But anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to see even more content from yours truly. And in the meantime, keep smiling, keep scheming, and I'll see all of you next time.